Hey guys, this is Joe from Prime Cuts Blog, and I got Justin on the camera behind me, or in front of me rather. And today what we're going to do is show you how to fabricate a unpeeled tenderloin, which is, if it doesn't look like it right now, Filet Mignon. This is a great thing to do because it's going to save you a lot of money, and you're going to be able to have filet for dinner at your house without the extreme price that you would at a restaurant, or if you were to buy it pre-butchered. So, getting right into it, what you need to know about a fillet, there are three main parts. You have the chain, which is a long, thin piece that's very sinuous that runs the length of the tenderloin here. And this piece needs to come off. You've got the main body of the tenderloin, which is where your filet mignon cuts are. And then you have right here what's called the head piece. And this is another portion of filet basically, but it's not on the main body. It's by no means a center cut. It's just as tender, but it needs to come off before you can start doing your work. So, to break it down, what you need to start doing first is peeling away the chain. Carefully, of course. Short strokes, cutting fat and not meat, because you do not want to waste any of the expensive and delicious meat inside. One rule that I always tell my chefs is to do as much work as you can with your hands. That way you won't cut into any meat and waste it. That is a good piece to save. This bit of the chain right here, you can grind it, make some very fatty hamburger out of it, but it's mostly fat and sinew, so it's almost not worth using. The head piece right here, removed essentially the same way. Short strokes. Cutting it with the grain of the fat. This one we're going to save, we're going to clean up, and there is a nice portion of filet in there, but what I want to show you guys today is the main body of it, the center cut tenderloins. That's what we're going to do. So, what you can see we have here is what's called silver skin or sinew, and this needs to come off for sure. This will not render down, it will only get tough, and you won't be able to chew it very well. So the way I go about getting rid of all this is get your knife under a little bit, pop it out the side, with the blade pointed up towards the skin. You want to slowly remove and repeat. This is a process that's best done carefully, slowly, and in little bits at a time. And this is so you're not cutting into any of the valuable meat underneath. And we are going to go through and repeat this process through the whole steak. About, if you can think of it as a square shape, 3 of the 4 sides have this sinew on it, and that needs to come off. A lot of it, again, you can do with your hands. That's a good thing, because you know you're not cutting any meat off if you're just using your fingertips. The 4th side of the square is this right here, which is a little bit harder fat. Just as easy to peel off, but a little trickier in that it kind of mixes in with the meat, as you can see right here. And you don't want to cut too much of it away. You can always clean up the portion after you cut it into the individual size. But for the most part, we're just going to run your knife parallel, going into the fat, and again, not the meat, taking as much off as you can without really altering the size or cutting away any of the good beef below. You can see it's already looking much, much cleaner. Take some of that stuff off. And we're just left with just one more side to finish up. This is one of my favorite steaks to cut. It's just fun. And it really looks like something different when it's done, when it's finished being clean, and when you start it. So you feel like you really accomplished something when you got one of these, and they're looking good, and they're ready to cook and be portioned. And we are just a few cuts away from perfection here. A little bit of stuff on there is okay. You don't need to be too perfect, but neaten it up nice. And what we got here is a beautiful, now fully peeled tenderloin that we can start to portion. You cut into whatever size steaks we want. This restaurant, we use a 9-ounce cut, which is a good size fillet. We're going to get about 5 portions out of one this size. You start by trimming up the tip. That you can kind of save those for kebabs or whatever stir fry that you'd like, but we're kind of squaring off the steak just to make sure it's an even size and it's going to cook evenly. This would obviously cook a lot faster than the center mass in there. So just eyeballing it, because I do this every day. Got a nice 9-ounce steak right there. That's got that little knob of fat, and we can clean that up easily later, whereas the rest of it is nice. There you have your beautiful center cut filet mignon. 9 ounces. It's going to cook perfectly. It's going to maintain a nice rare center. And that's why a lot of people buy filet, because it's got such a central mass to overall area ratio that center is going to stay nice and red, but you can still have your char on the tip there. And just like I called it, we got 5 portions, a little bit of scrap, plus our headpiece that we can get another portion out of, and our tip of the chain, which we can render down some of that fat, cut it off, and we'll have another bit of tips there for lunch or whatever you want later on. But there's your barbecue. What you might have spent, I don't know, $60, $100 at a restaurant on, you can have purchase of your own and for a fraction of that cost. Filet mignon made easy. There you go.